Good afternoon, everybody. It's Joni with Paperback Exchange Bookstore, 6412 Ridge Road in Port Richey. And we have the honor this afternoon of having an interview with one of our local authors, Mr. Rudy Alleyne. How are you doing, Mr. Rudy?
Doing fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm going to double check to make sure all of the sound is coming out just right here on the post.
All right.
And I'm going to turn it up. Yep, everything's looking perfect. All right, so I'll be able to check comments on the Facebook page as well. So we're pumping you out on Facebook. We're on Zoom. Welcome to Zoom. This is your first Zoom interview.
Yeah, well, yeah, first online interview ever.
Well, what we have here is Rudy's book, Traversing the Void. And we've got a bunch of stories that are somewhat intertwined.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I mean, there were just a bunch of stories I've written all throughout the years, you know, ever since I was like from college all the way up. And I decided, like, after coming out with my first book, you know, why don't I just put them all together as an anthology? Because they were all pretty interesting, especially with different people that I've gotten to read it. So I thought, hey, let's turn that into another book.
Well, I've read a few of the stories in here. I haven't gotten all through it, but I have noticed that hopping around, it is like traversing the universe and the void itself. We've got characters that are hopping around from one story to the other and being reintroduced. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Okay. So tell us about the story. Let me quickly read the preface for everybody. This is from Rudy itself. When I first wrote Harvest Moon, Lunar Tide Chronicles, the story was a dedication to unrequited love, personal experiences shared with me, and its contributing factors, pride and predilect. What is that word?
Oh, can you spell it? I don't have the book in front of me.
Predilections.
Predilections, yeah.
To rely heavily on stereotypes. Set in a world of magical realism, science fiction, and fantasy. And as time progressed, I began to see similar issues being played out once again, but in various public forums, leading me to realize how entrenched we are as a species in our ego, our inability to see the generations of pain we have inflicted on each other in dehumanizing ways. Inevitably, my writing evolved to give a voice to the voiceless, words buried beneath layers of misconceptions, subterfuge and fallacies, voices which traverse and echo throughout the void. That's what I enjoyed most about the underlying theme of this. There was always somebody they were fighting, but there was always a lot of people helping each other out. I appreciated that greatly. Tell us a little bit about how this all got put together.
Well, I don't know. I put that together. I mean, I was going through a tough time. I was kind of grieving a death in the family, and I don't know. It was kind of cathartic and therapeutic just to put something together to kind of help me get through the whole thing, you know.
I know when something like that happens, you tend to realize you're having maybe some more profound moments in your life than you realized.
Somewhat, yeah. You know, as you get older and as time goes on, you just, I don't know, priorities change. You just like, I don't know, it's hard to put into words sometimes, hence why I write stories. And, you know, and I love the fiction because it allows you to kind of take those feelings and put them in a creative format that allows you to express yourself that you can't normally express yourself in reality itself.
Yeah, you start talking like that with your buddies and they kind of look at you like, what's going on with Rudy, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's what I love about the fiction genre, where, you know, you can make stuff that is like almost ordinary seem so fantastic. And like, it's something that a lot of people can relate to, you know? I mean, you live on this earth, you're going to share a certain experience and feel certain things that, you know, everybody has gone through.
We're not all out here all by ourselves, huh?
Exactly. You know, no man is an island.
Well, I know one of the main, I guess, influences you have, I'm losing the word here that I'm looking for, but you do have a page that you use to express some of that, in thinking that you can express your feelings differently than, you know, just in a normal crowd of people. And let's share some of those places where you've got that. Each one of your books has a Facebook page where you can go talk about the lines of the storylines and the characters. But you've also got this, and let me show it to everybody else. We've got a Facebook page here called the Bastion of Solace. Tell us a little bit about the Bastion of Solace and why you created this page.
Well, like all the pages were just pretty much to show different sides and aspects of me as a writer, and like, you know, everything that, you know, we see and observe in life. The Bastion of Solace was to kind of put more to put out there like more positive viewpoints and observations that when, you know, when we're going through life in the tough times. And, you know, I have another page, Heart of Fury, where like that is more of a satirical type, like for sharing, you know, humorous sides and sometimes some commentary about what's going on in a more sarcastic kind of way, you know, like, and if anybody knows me, that's pretty much, that's how I am, you know. I can be a bit of a smart ass at times, kind of, you know. And like Harvest Moon, well, that one is pretty much, I want, it displays more of my interest in the scientific field and science and sci-fi and different stuff like that, you know, as we go throughout the world.
So you've got some of that interest. Let's see, where are we at here? Am I in the right spot? There we go. So what we've done, did I share some screens up there? Did I do that? I was looking at them. There you go. We're learning. Here we go. There you go. Harvest Moon, you've got your Bastion of Solace. So you've got them different in different aspects, depending on if you're a little more serious about it. Talk about your interest in science. You were born in the Bahamas. You were 17 years old or so when you moved up here to the States.
Yeah,
and
when I came
you
over
spent some time at Queens College. You studied biology down there.
Well, no, I studied, well, Queens College was the high school I went to. That was the name of the high school I went to in the Bahamas. What do you call it? I came over here in 2001 to study biology, pretty much to go into, what you call it, towards into pre-med. And, you know, because when I was younger, I just had this thing about what I want to do with my life. And I wanted to take the things that I felt like I was good at. And I always noticed I was always good with science, questioning the world around me, you know, being very observant and detail oriented about a lot of stuff, you know, and going along those lines, I just kind of, it just made sense for me to go into that direction and all that. And not to mention, I felt like, you know, it made good for material for sci-fi as well. So.
Right, with all the science. So what have you got going on as far as events coming up? I know you can buy your book here. I've got Traversing the Void here. Where else can we find some of your books? You got them up on Amazon?
I also have it on Barnes and Nobles, where you can purchase it through their website. It's not in stores or anything, but you can go on there online to purchase it through there. Let's see. I also have a profile on bookshop.org, where, you know, where you can go through there as well. What else?
I mean, got any spoons in the pot? Have you got any manuscripts you put together or that you're editing?
Oh, well, for one, I'm working on the sequel to Harvest Moon at the moment called Tapestry of Time. And that's coming along. I'm about like more than halfway through. But, you know, as you're writing, you kind of, I don't know, writers are kind of a bit of perfectionists themselves. So I'm just taking my time with it, trying to make sure it's better than the last one. And
let's talk about the Harvest Moon story.
Oh, the Harvest Moon story?
Yeah, what's it about?
Oh, I mean, it's pretty much this sci-fi fantasy tale about this guy that's taken into he's taken into another world per se. It's in our world, but it's like he's taken underground with these underwater creatures that are, you might as well call them mermaids, but I tried to write them into a more realistic perspective, you know, rather than the classic, you know, half body of a fish and tail kind of thing, like half human, half fish.
Well, I'm noticing the Avalonians are all over the place.
They are, and
I like
yeah, and it has a bit of an Arthurian legend tale quality to it, you know, because I mean, when you talk about Avalon and stuff like that, it does borrow a bit from, you know, the legends of King Arthur and Knights of the Round Tables and all that stuff.
Right, and if you like the Jenna character in Harvest Moon, you might like the Jenna character in Traversing the Void as well, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much the same. I mean, Traversing the Void was just pretty much a transition into going like 2.5, you want to speak in computer terms, going from the first book into the sequel, almost like a bridge, where it's connecting an entire universe, because all the other stories in there are connected in some way to it, where it's like all the characters are related in one way and the worlds are connected to each other. Like pretty much everything is going on at the same time, but in different realities, you know, almost symbolizing like how even ourselves as people, we all go through life in our own little bubble, in our own little world.
I think we're taking that straight line, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like, but at the same time, you have other things going on in other people's bubbles in reality that we know nothing about. And, you know, and all we do is catch glimpses of what's going on, of what people allow us to see. And, you know, I think
in one of your blurbs, you used the term, you know, everybody's walking, they think they're going right to where they want to be in a straight line, but then Dr. Fibonacci comes in and whips us back around to where we thought we had started already, and shows us something else we need to know.
Like the Fibonacci spiral.
So what have you got? Are you working on any new projects right now? As far as you've got your Harvest Moon. Do you have any short stories? You mentioned something earlier about you've got your hand in on a short story.
Well, it's a project I worked with some with other authors in the writing community on Twitter, and we came out and compiled a bunch of stories that we all wrote together. It's called Heads and Tails, the other side of the story, and it's pretty much a retelling of various fairy tales and folklore. And it's like, you know, having the two sides of a story. You know, you have your side, my side, and the truth. And it's like, so if you take, like, you have a story in here with Hansel and Gretel, so you're telling the story from the perspective of like the witch, and like, you know, from other characters you don't normally hear about, where Hansel and Gretel are actually the bad guys in that story from the witch's perspective. And then, you know, I worked with another author, and yeah, and then and like, you know, that story is written by a pair of authors, and I paired off with another author, Pandy McCullum, and we wrote a story pretty much about Bigfoot, and it's based off the Most Dangerous Game, where this guy, you know, he's trying to prove he sees Bigfoot and goes after Bigfoot, and throughout the whole time you think he's hunting him, but turns out Bigfoot was hunting him at the same time, kind of thing. So it has that Most Dangerous Game aspect to it. But, you know, it's telling, and like, you know, I wrote from the perspective of Bigfoot, she wrote from the perspective of the hunter, you know, and give credit to her, you know, I mean, she started off the story and I just kind of followed along. I'm like, you know, okay, I could work with this, you know. But I mean, and you have other stories like that throughout, and it's just trying to take a creative take on like a lot of classics and folklore that, you know.
You've got a hard paper copy of it. Where can people get it?
Oh, just about anywhere right now, like Amazon in particular. I believe there are copies on Barnes and Nobles as well. I mean, pretty much search it up, and if you go on my pages as well, I've shared links to them. So like on Heart of Fury mainly, you can find it on links on how to get there. But the biggest places where I would go to get it would be Barnes and Nobles and Amazon. But I believe if you just search it up, there'll be other places that can offer it. And if anything, I'll find out because I wasn't the one that spearheaded this project. The credit goes to Chapel Orman. Chapel, first name, last name, Oraman, Orahamm. You know, he's the one that came up with the idea to do this and got us all together to put all this together. And the proceeds from this actually go to charity. We don't get anything from it. Everything, all the profits will be going to the Trevor Project.
Wonderful.
And I figure, you know what, I think that's a good cause.
It's a great cause. I was a volunteer for the Trevor Project. And if anybody listening doesn't know what the Trevor Project does, it is a website, a chat room, a hotline for suicide and mental health for LGBTQ youth 14 to 25 years old. I was a volunteer for a while, and it is a wonderful project. There are so many resources for people. If you are LGBTQ, or if you have a member of your family who is, even if you don't join and become a member of the Trevor Project, you can go to thetrevorproject.org and find thousands of resources for you to learn and help the person in your family that is going through this process of coming out or being shunned or just not understanding what's going on with their lives. So yes, a wonderful project.
It is. And I never heard of it before. And, I know of people, and I have friends who are in the LGBTQ community, and I figure, to show support in that direction to,
you can literally, as an LGBTQ youth, you can go and create your own forums on those pages. You can go create your own chat room, so you can actually talk with people that are going through exactly what you're going through, or teach people exactly what you're going through. It's not a hookup site. Everybody says, oh, well, you get in there and start talking to people, it's just a big dating site. It is not. It is highly monitored by volunteers like myself. It is also monitored by mental health professionals. As a volunteer, you don't speak to the children at all. All you're doing is monitoring what they're saying to each other, and you send the mental health professionals out to them if you see any chance of harm, or if they're just struggling with whatever they're struggling with, housing or food or identity or health or mental health, they help them. So yes, it is an excellent project for you to be involved in, and I would encourage anybody to get involved in it whenever they can. All right, well, we've got a bunch of information. We've got pages. Rudy will also be going back up onto this page later on our Facebook page. If you've got any questions for him that you've asked, or if you've got any questions about where to find his information, we'll also share those links that we've been talking about and showing as far as Facebook pages there. I'm just not savvy enough to be able to do it on the fly at the same time. So I'm going to go back and add that stuff in. We will also be giving away a copy of Traversing the Void here from the shop. So we'll be doing a guess for the next couple of weeks or so. At the end of the month, we'll give away the book. So if you want to put in a guess, we're guessing numbers between 1 and 50. One guess per person, and your first guess is the one that counts. So if you've got a better guess, make sure you delete your other posts, because it'll be your first guess that we count on there. But thank you for joining us today. I do have what we always like to do with our authors, a little bit of a speed round at the end.
All right.
I give you some choices, and you have to pick between the two. I don't always know where these come from. I sit down and put them together as I'm reading your book based on your genre. So let's do a little bit of a speed round for you here, okay, Rudy? And then we'll say our goodbyes afterwards. All right, okay. Between the two, here we go, 1 through 10. Sci-fi or fantasy?
Sci-fi.
Wormhole or warp speed?
Ooh, wormhole. It makes more sense.
Guilds or factions?
Guilds.
Among Us or Alone?
Among Us.
Timeline travel or paradoxical?
Ooh, I'm a timeline kind of guy, so let's go with the timeline travel.
Ghosts or immortality?
Oh, I don't know. Ghosts seem fine. Immortality gives you further chance for exploration.
Is the void half full or is the void half empty?
It's refillable.
Up to the tippy top, right?
Exactly.
AI or cyborg? I don't know where that came from.
That's like choosing between a rock and a hard place. I don't know, Cyborg, because then at least you have the chance of getting Sarah Connor in the mix.
And here we go for a second chance on this last question. Paperback or hardback?
Keep doing this to me. Paperback, fine.
We have become more accustomed to hardbacks too. We actually had to create a hardback section because sometimes Kindle and audio makes it so the paperback doesn't come out for a full year. Oh my gosh. So we are dabbling in hardback here a little bit. So it's not hardly a fair question.
All right.
But thank you so much for joining us today. We will be giving away one of your books here in about a month or so. And if anybody's got any questions, you don't have to have them on today. You can add the question in later, whether it's live or not. We'll be monitoring our Facebook Live page, and we will also be adding this video up onto the YouTube page, so you guys can share it wherever you want to. It won't be stuck here in Facebook world. But thank you so much again, Rudy, for joining us for your interview.
Anytime, it's always fun.
We always look forward to giving away your books and sharing your books with everybody. And I didn't realize there were so many of them, so I'll have to look at the adding up some of my stock for those. I've only got.
And I hope, and I'm hoping to add even more. I'm hoping to even add even more to my portfolio.
Yeah, that's the whole point, right? We're booksellers.
Exactly.
You're the writer, I'm the seller. Let's team up.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you so very much, and have a blessed day. Sleep less, read more, and wash your hands.
Right.